Hello wine people, welcome to Thirsty and Wise, where we simplify wine. My name is Peter and I'm a certified WSET wine and spirit educator. In this video, I will answer 10 multiple choice questions and 3 short written answer questions for WSET Level 3 in wines exam. In previous video, I explained the theory behind it, so if you did not see that video, please do. And please consider joining the community of Thirsty and Wise because we explain wine in a simple way. And let's start this video. Okay, wine people, in this video I will show you the learning outcomes and point allocation. So basically what you should learn about food and wine pairing on the WSET Level 3 in wine course, and how many points are available on the short written answer question part of the exam and the multiple choice question part of the exam. And then in this video I will answer 10 multiple choice questions and 3 short written answer questions. So let's go. So the learning outcome number 5 is the part on where you need to demonstrate the ability to provide information and advice to customers and staff about wines. This is the learning outcome for food and wine pairing, and also service wine service. And then the point allocation for the short written answer part is the learning outcome 5 is here, and you get around 10 points from 100 points for the short written answer part question. And then learning outcome number 5 on the multiple choice question is here, and you have 4 available points from 50 multiple choice questions. Okay, so my advice always for WSET Level 3 in wines exam is don't give up, fight for every point. So 10 points for the short written answer part and 4 points in the multiple choice question part. First multiple choice question is, how does sweetness in food affect wine? Increases the perception of body, decreases the perception of bitterness, increases the perception of bitterness and acidity, makes wine taste sweeter. The correct answer is C, increases the perception of bitterness and acidity. If you did not see my previous video on explanation for WSET Level 3 in wines, food and wine pairing, please do so, where I explain this. Basically, there's 4 major food and wine pairing, 4 major food elements, flavor elements in food. Sweetness and umami, which always make the wine taste in a negative way. More bitter, more acidic, more drying, less fruity, less body. And then when you recognize a question on food and wine pairing as sweetness in food, umami in food, it will always make the wine taste in a negative way. So look for that negative answer in a wine. In this case, more bitterness and more acidic. Which food component tends to soften tannins in a wine? Salt, umami, sweetness, acidity. The correct answer is A, salt. Salt makes wine taste more flavorful, more fuller, and it softens the tannin in red wines. So salt and acidity are always positive components in a food that makes the wine taste better, more balanced. Question number 3, high umami in food can make the wine taste more sweet and fruity, more bitter and less fruity, lighter and less acidic, heavier and richer. The correct answer is B, more bitter and less fruity. Question number 5, what type of wine pairs best with spicy food? High alcohol dry red wine, off dry low alcohol white wine, full bodied tannic red wine, oaked Chardonnay. So spiciness in the food increases the alcohol in the wine and makes the wine less fruity and and makes it lighter. So a good correct answer here is B. Suitable food and wine pairing for spicy food is off dry or low alcohol white wine. So sweetness in the food will balance the spiciness, and also lower alcohol wine goes better with a high high spiciness in the food. How does acidity in the food affect the wine? Reduces the acidity in the wine, increases the wine's perceived acidity, decreases the wine's fruitiness, reduces bitterness in the wine. The correct answer is A. Acidity in the wine reduces the acidity in the acidity in the food reduces the acidity in the wine. So the consideration is always have a more acidic wine than the acidity in your food. Which pairing would likely result in a negative interaction? So sweet dessert and a sweeter wine, oysters with champagne, steak with Cabernet Sauvignon, grilled asparagus with a tannic red wine. I would say B, grilled asparagus with tannic red wine. Tannic red wine is quite tannic and rich. Grilled asparagus, even though it's grilled, which gives it a little bit more flavor intensity, it's still gonna have this bitter element that can trigger the bitterness in a high tannic wine. What is a key principle in pairing intensity of food and wine? Match intense food with lighter wines, match intense food with equal intense wines, pair low acid wines with high acid foods, contrast high sweetness in food with dry wines. So the correct answer is B, match intense food with equal intense wines. What is the best pairing for a sweet dessert such as fruit tart, dry Riesling, Sauterne, Cabernet Sauvignon, sparkling rosé? The correct answer is B, Sauterne. So always have your wine sweeter than your dessert, because dessert will make your wine taste more drier. So in other cases, the dry Riesling will taste more acidic, less fruity. Cabernet Sauvignon will be too tannic, it will taste bitter and tannic and less fruity, and sparkling rosé will be too acidic. Which wine has matching flavors to creamy butter pasta? Sauvignon Blanc, Oak Chardonnay, Syrah, and Prosecco. Correct answer is B. Oak Chardonnay has this full, rich, buttery kind of flavors, or it can have, usually if it's aged in oak, and it complements the similar flavors in a creamy butter pasta. So malolactic conversion, least contact gives this richness, buttery texture to the oak Chardonnay. Which wine is a classic pairing with blue cheese? Sauvignon Blanc, Champagne, Port, and Syrah. The correct answer is C, Port. Classic food and wine pairing, rich, complex, intense, salty flavors of blue cheese goes very well with richness and sweetness of a rich port. So now we have the 3 short written answer questions. So if you did not see my previous video on me explaining the short written answer questions, how they should be answered, if you did not see that video, please do, because that video is probably the most important video that you need to watch in order for you to understand how to read the book, how to prepare for the WSET Level 3 in Wine exam, especially the short written answer part, which is the most challenging exam part on WSET Level 3 in Wines. So things to notice in these 3 questions is the question, the command verbs. So the command verb is key for you to answer the question properly. So usually I explained this in the video, I'm just going to mention it and again. Command verbs are basically defining how you need to answer the question. It can be very simple as stating something, describing something, or explaining something. So if you just need to state something, you just need to state it. State the grape variety of white grape variety in Burgundy, Chardonnay. If you need to describe something, let's say describe characteristics of Chardonnay, you just need to describe the characteristics of it, either in a winery or in the vineyard. But if you need to explain how characteristics of Chardonnay can affect the style and quality of the wine, then you need to have a connecting word. Why does characteristics of Chardonnay, how and why it will affect the quality of that wine. In this question, for example, the command verb is explain. So the question is explain how the sweetness in food impact the perception of wine and give an example of suitable pairing. So the words in green are the words that are important to notice in a question, and then the words in the answer that are in green are information that I believe would give you a point based on this question. All right, so the important things in the questions are explain. So this means that you need to give an explanation why in this case explain how sweetness in the food impacts the perception of a wine. So how, and give an example of a suitable pairing for that. So two-part question. The correct answer would be a full 5-mark question, even though this could be a higher mark question, but let's say 5 points. Sweetness in the food increases the perception of bitterness. So this is basically a statement, and you could get maybe a 1 point for this, because you stated the sweetness in the food increases the bitterness, acidity and alcohol in the wine while decreasing the perception of both the sweetness and fruitiness. Maybe you're going to get 1 point here because this is a statement, but a full answer would be, so the second part of the answer is I'm giving an example of a suitable food and wine pairing. A suitable pairing would be a sweet dessert like fruit tart with a sweet wine like Sauterne. So this is a second point. But then to get that third, fourth and fifth question, third, fourth and fifth point, I'm explaining why this is the case. Let me just see. As the wine's sweetness matches the food sweetness and avoids the wine tasting overly bitter or acidic. So this would be a full mark answer. Question number 2. Explain how fat in food interacts with the wine and recommend a wine style that pairs well. Fat in food reduces the perception of tannins and acidity in a wine, making high tannin or high acid wines taste less tannic and acidic. A good example is a fatty steak paired with a tannic wine like Cabernet Sauvignon, where fat softens the tannin and the wine structure balances the richness of the dish. And question number 3, explain how high alcohol in wine can affect the pairing with spicy food and suggest a better alternative. Spicy alcohol in wine increases the perception of chili heat in a spicy food, making a wine combination unpleasant. A better alternative is low alcohol of dry wine like Gewürztraminer, which reduces the spice and alcohol perception. Wine people, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope everything was clear, simple and easy to understand. Please share with us if you have any questions and concerns regarding food and wine pairing for your WSET Level 3 in Wines course. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay thirsty and wise.